Yes, sir.
Regarding broadening the base, you know, Allen County, it's pretty obvious, has done a great job with that. I mean, right here, Casey Cox reinvigorating the.
I'm 65 years old.
Oh, he is. So he's got the mind of a 65-year-old, which is good. But you know, you had Tony Bennett leading the school choice initiative. Obviously, Governor Daniels on the fiscal side. Where's the leadership? Is there a leader in the Indiana Republican Party that's working to broaden the base? Because that is the you know, significant majorities legislatively with the fiscal responsibility. We've got these key elements, but you know, that's the soft spot. I think that's the weak spot in the future for the Republican Party. Who is in the go-to person?
It's part of my job, but it's part of everyone's job that's a leader in the Republican Party. It's part of Steve's, it's part of Barb's, it's part of mine, it's part of every office holder. And I don't know of very many office holders who would turn down an opportunity. I seek opportunities to go to college campuses and to and will continue to in my tenure as state chairman. But we have started a next generation. I'll give you a couple examples. We at the party started a next generation fund, which is seeks to attract young people to contribute not just support but also their own dollars into part of our budget, and then they will decide if they spend it in the mayoral race in Fort Wayne or in Jeffersonville or Hartford City. So we're trying to not just give them, we're trying not just to ask them for support. We don't view young folks as part of the bench anymore. I actually view them as they're a starter. They're on the court right now. These issues are, like I said at the outset, extremely relevant to where they're going to be in 10 years or 15 years or 5 years. And time flies, as you know. And all of a sudden, you know, you're there. Senator Coates didn't start out as Senator Coates. You know, he was a district director for a congressman and then became congressman and then became senator. And so that time just goes like that, and we've got to engage with the younger folks where their conversations are where they're occurring. And then they're the folks who actually are teaching us on how to communicate, you know, with them. So it just requires a lot of work. But to answer your question, it's me and it's Bart and it's Steve and it's Tony Bennett and it's Mitch Daniels. Part of the real success of Mitch Daniels' first campaign and re-election was just the vibrant support from you know, on college campuses. I remember when I went to IU on the re-election, we had a debate with Jill Long Thompson. I said we had a debate. Mitch had a debate. I didn't have to debate her. And I was walking around, and I looked over, and Matt Tully, who writes for the Indianapolis Star, was walking around, and I could tell he was doing a story, and he was talking to different, you know, young folks. And I walked over to him. I said, "Man, what are you learning today?" And he goes, "I got some good news. I got some bad news." And I said, "Well, give me the bad news first." And he said, "Just about everyone I've talked to is voting for Barack Obama." And I said, "Well, give me the good news." And he said, "Just about everybody I've talked to is voting for Mitch Daniels." You know, and then he started pointing out, and a bunch of them are wearing the green My Man Mitch t-shirts, and it was because Mitch went to IU and Purdue and St. Joe's, and I mean, small, big, didn't matter. So it's a real investment on all of our part, and not just saying we need you to go door to door and make the phone calls, but how do you think we communicate? How is it best for you to communicate to your peers?
Just no offense here, but you know, Mitch Daniels has got a brand, and Tony Bennett has got a brand. I mean, that needs to be developed to put that out to the younger generation.
Yes, I agree.
Maybe you're the guy.
I better be part of the solution, and that's what we're trying to give them some ownership and responsibility. Another thing we're trying to do is we created a speakers series, and we'll do them 2 or 3 times every 2 or 3 months. And we already did the first one at the state party headquarters, and we bring in people that we believe helped build this state or a certain community. And that's the context of their speech. It's not how to go door to door, how to make phone calls, all the political blocking and tackling, but it's more of and it's for younger and older folks alike, but we make an emphasis to try to get as many young people there so they can learn, you know, how did Indianapolis become the place it is today? Or if we could do it for how did Fort Wayne become the place? Who were the builders, the builders of the community back when it was decided it was going to go this direction or that? Jim Morris was very responsible in Indianapolis, and we had him come speak and had a lot of young folks there too, and they just get this whole different sense of, well, this is why it's an amateur sports capital of the world, of the nation. And he was able to talk about different things and decisions they made over, you know, back in the 70s that really dictated where the state would be. Yes, sir.
Eric, if I could say something, and I don't mean to get off format here, but you know, last week I noticed in the News Sentinel, in its rant and rave section, that there was a rant about the fact that I should step down as chairman because of the fact that I run the Republican Party more as an open house rather than the Republican Party. And I think some people misperceive running an open house as it is to people who are like-minded in philosophy, but are of different colors, different genders, Hispanics, women, African Americans. And I think the reference may have been to a former Democrat who I gave a pass to run for the city council. And the reason I gave him a pass to, because he was a like-minded conservative and he had shed his Democratic background. In fact, he was the only Democrat in about 8 years ago who was endorsed by the Right to Life. And not surprisingly, this same gentleman, and I have no favorites I'm just using this as an example, this gentleman was also endorsed by Right to Life as a Republican. That is what I call expanding the base, not polluting our philosophical beliefs, but to bring people in who may have been somewhere else before, but wanted to be part of our philosophy and our organization. There is a difference between having a wholesale open house, where you can have anybody and everybody walk in, as it compares to those who maintain our political philosophy, despite what their background may have been. So, thank you for allowing me to clarify that.
I'm clear.
So maybe one more question, and then I just ask you that you would mind commenting on the state debt. You might expect. But before that, one last question? Sir?
Yes, sir.
Perhaps it's not germane, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'll just reveal my own ignorance of the matter. Do you know what the current status is of the toll road lease payments? Have they all been distributed? Does the state have any control over any of those billions of dollars?
The state does have a trust fund that they set aside for future transportation projects.
Within those those that are
No,
contiguous to the toll road?
That money was sent.
That's gone.
Yeah, that's in, well, it's not gone necessarily, it's in Steuben County's treasury, or Elkhart's, or Lake, or Porter, or any of the toll road counties.
But it wasn't
So
necessarily.
they were given $40 million, and it's sitting in an account, unless they've spent that on transportation projects in those counties. But I do know that much of it has not been spent. But the state can't go get that money from Steuben County.
So there is a trust fund, and the state may have scope. My concern, as with any other taxpayer, is that when monies are distributed, rather than being used for infrastructure, they're used for a lot of fickle projects, as you've seen, that go on all over.
That was one of the real issues with this lease, was that it had to be used for a specific purpose and not other good, noble purposes. So Steuben County can't use that money for education, or can't build a youth center, which they may need, but they can't use those transportation dollars for that, to address exactly where you're coming from.
You know, just briefly, that's a good point, because many were disappointed that Steuben didn't partner with Trine, but it doesn't sound like they had the opportunity to. And I don't think that was ever revealed, that I know of.
That's a very current issue, yeah. I did want to say that May 12th is the state spring GOP dinner at the new JW Marriott downtown Indianapolis. We'll be able to have about 1,000 of your closest friends present, and the First Lady Sherry Daniels will be our keynote speaker. So read into that what you will, and if you have any questions, you can talk to Steve Shine. He knows more than I do.
I know you're reading.
Thank you all very much for all you do.